Hey, it's Wicked Pixel with a mod tutorial for Ownable Apartments mod version 2. This mod brings the ability to become an apartment landlord, purchase an apartment complex, lease out apartments, evict tenants, ask anyone to get off the property, collect rent, increase monthly fees, and deal with several stressful maintenance issues connected to tenant complaints. To get the mod working, the first thing you'll do is just go to the lot that you placed your apartment on, and I got this apartment complex off the gallery. I'll leave the gallery ID in the description. What you want to do is go into the lot types, and you should see a condo and low-income apartment and luxury apartments. If you're not seeing these three venue types, then it's an issue with the venue list. I'll be adding this to Base Metals Universal list, but I'll let you know when I do that. But if you don't see that, that's why it's dealing with the venue list, and you might want to change venue list or get out the game and then come back into the game and see if it'll populate then. But I do have it set up where you can just set the lot type to generic and skip the purchasing process and just start running your apartment. So if you don't see them, all is not lost. You still can play the mod. But I'm going to set this to probably a low-income apartment based on the exterior here. All right, so the next thing you want in your apartment complex is your leasing office. You're going to need a leasing office. And I found a room in this one, and this will be the leasing office. You just need basically a place where you can go through the screening process and ask them some questions and decide if they could get an apartment here or not. You'll need a base game computer, and the one that generally works is this one right here, the all-in-one power PC. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is have to give our landlord sim the apartment landlord trait and create a sim. Or you can find this trait in lifestyles, and it should be right here. It says these sims invest their money into buying and renting out apartment complexes. All right, straight to the point.
Shababa.
All right, one thing I want to show you is that they'll get random buffs about what's happening in an apartment, but he doesn't have one yet, but they'll still trigger kind of early, so that's normal. So what you want to do is find the apartment menu on a computer from your home lot, and then you'll see the option to buy these apartments. If you don't have these like set up like what we just did before, then you won't be able to purchase. It won't nothing will show up, etc. So we got the low income apartment, so let's go ahead and purchase that. It's in Willow Creek. Here it is. So you'll see you purchase an apartment complex as a business. One thing I forgot to mention is that you'll definitely need a venue list and get to work the get to work expansion pack for this mod to work for you. All right, so just go ahead and transfer some money. And as one other thing I want to show you, it will revert back to generic lot. So that's why it doesn't matter if you just start from a generic lot and not go through the buying process if the venues don't show up. Okay, so we're here at our apartment complex, and we need to fill some vacancies. So I'll go into live mode. One thing I forgot to mention is this mod will not work at all with city living apartments, so don't try to do that. Also, the get to work retail UI, you do not want to use this whatsoever. The only thing that you should use is sell the store when you're like, if you don't no longer want your apartment complex. That's the only thing. Nothing else you really should use with that. I advise not to. So let's get started and let's fill these vacancies. So you'll go to the apartment menu once again, and you'll have leasing office and services are the two main menus that we'll use. So to start things off, I just want to fill an apartment vacancy, and what that'll do, that'll spawn a sim when we get to our office. And we don't look too professional. Okay, there we go. Where did she go? Alright. Let me look. Yeah, okay, tenant applicant. Who are you? Okay, you're just the lady on the street. Okay, we got our tenant applicant. She's gonna make her way towards us. She's already touring the apartment. Okay, let's get her. Oh, I should do call over. Call over, and then we'll introduce ourselves. And you might want to lock the other doors except to the leasing apartment, and then unlock them when you okay the application. If you okay the application. All right, so let's do a friendly introduction.
Fenoza.
Shuna.
All right. Oh, this cramped little office. Okay, so now we can. I like to press pause because they do kind of get up and move around. So you'll go to the landlord menu when you have a new potential tenant, and you can do apartment tenant screening. Well, you should do apartment tenant screening. All right, and so right off the bat, if you just like, you know what, I like what you're giving off, so approve the apartment lease, or you don't, you can deny the apartment lease right away and just get out. But yeah, you can ask them to leave the property. I want to thank you to a supporter who suggested that we that I add that, because she couldn't get rid of the people in her apartment after she denied their application. So I'm just gonna ask a few questions. The first one is probably income related and where you work.
Zimastay, Lumish, Instadorpa.
Debishi Slackum. Lanchi.
All right, she says her current income should meet the requirements, and I totally trust you on that, so I won't do any. Let's ask another questions. Where are you? Yeah, where are you employed? Come back here. Where'd she go? I need to lock doors. Alright, so let's see. Maybe I should just queue these up. I'm going to ask, do you have a felony? And where you're employed. Well, I think I already did that. Okay, I just need these other two questions, and then I'll decide whether or not. Okay, she works for a successful company nearby. She's very vague, and she's never been in trouble before. You know what? That's all I need to know. And welcome to the neighborhood. So I'm just gonna approve the lease.
Okay, so.
Okay, we've approved her, but I am gonna ask her to leave the property because she actually won't start, living there until you invite them back. So I'm just gonna ask her to leave the property. So the next thing is you can just keep doing that and fill your apartment complex, but you can fill up to 8 apartments if you want. But when you want them to come back and actually live in the apartment, just go to the social tab, and you should see invite tenant over right here. And which it was this. Now these sims have the tenant trait from the other sim I played, so just be aware of that any sim with the tenant trait will populate in this sim picker, but you can evict them if you want, and they won't show up here. So you can tell them, come on over to the apartment, you're evicted. So I believe this is the lady we just approved for an apartment, so let's just go ahead and have her come over, and she's free to roam around where she wants and do what she wants, or whatever apartment. Okay, so the next thing we need to be aware of is that while you're filling up units and managing the property, your sim will get that different random buffs. When they get the buff, it'll make them very stressful, So to manage that, make sure you read the buff. It'll be very stressful. When you get that, you'll need to go to apartments and leasing off. Well, I'm sorry, services, and then like if it's a broken window, then you would need to. It would tell you to schedule window repair, and it will when you schedule the repair, it'll remove the buff, and a repair person will come over. They usually come and just sit if there's nothing for them to actually repair, and talk to you. And you can, if they're getting on your nerves, you can always go back to the leasing office. You can always go back to click on them on the repair person and go to apartment tenant screening, even though it's in this particular thing, but you can ask them to leave the property. You can ask anyone to leave the property. So when you have your tenants, you can use the community button. The community button is available anyway, but that's what you would do to evict a tenant. And you can just have a couple of friendly conversations, like how's it going? Is everything okay in your unit? You happy here? Stuff like that. The last thing is you want to earn your money. You want to collect your money. So you'll go back to the apartments thing in the leasing office, and you can collect rent. And if you want to, you can also charge extra fees. And the last button here is invite tenants over. This will invite everyone that you've made a tenant over at once. So let's collect the rent. All right, so when you collect the rent or anything like that, or charge extra fees, you can only do it every 24 hours. So let's go ahead and charge extra fees. And you can also let the tenants know that you've charged an extra fee. And there you go. So you can check back in 24 hours, and you should be able to do it again and earn money every day. So that'll do it for this tutorial. If you have any issues, please let me know on the Patreon post. I appreciate it, and take care.